So, today we're going to talk about a car that might just be the end of an era, the 2025 Volkswagen Polo GTI. And the big question we're asking is this: in a world that's quickly moving on from small, fun, gas powered cars, is this thing a worthy final tribute to the hot hatch? Or is it just fizzling out? Let's find out. You know, to really get the Polo GTI, you have to understand the world it lives in. And right now, that world is shrinking fast. The truth is, the hot hatch is absolutely a dying breed. The whole idea of an affordable, fun performance car is vanishing right before our eyes, getting crushed by new rules and what everyone wants to buy. With so many of the greats gone, you gotta wonder, who's actually left? And that's where this car, the VW Polo GTI, steps into the ring. It's one of the very last contenders still standing, a real survivor in a category that's turning into a ghost town. So, how did we get here? Why is this happening? Well, let's break down the pressures that are pushing the entire hot hatch market to the brink. It's not just one thing, it's really a perfect storm of factors. Okay, so there are three main culprits. First up, you've got emissions regulations that are just strangling these small, powerful petrol engines. It's making them super expensive to build. Second, well, just look around you. Everyone and their mother wants an SUV. And finally, the few amazing hatches that are left, like the incredible Honda Civic Type R, their prices have gone through the roof, putting them out of reach for most people. I mean, just look at the casualty list. We've lost absolute icons like the Ford Fiesta ST, a car that was legendary for just how much fun it was. On the other side, you've got the last few standing, our Polo GTI and the fantastic, but hard to find, Hyundai i20N. The field has gotten incredibly small. All right, now that we know the stakes, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's look at the numbers and see what the Polo GTI is really offering for the money. The price tag kicks off at around £31,000. And look, I know that's not exactly cheap for a small car, but you have to put it in perspective. When you see what other performance cars are going for these days, it actually starts to look kind of reasonable. Under the hood, you get a 2.0-liter engine that's putting out a very healthy 207 horsepower. But here's the thing, the number isn't the whole story. The real story is the engine making that power, the legendary EA888, and we'll get to why that's such a big deal in just a second. So what does that power get you? Well, it'll get you from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.5 seconds. That is definitely quick enough to put a huge smile on your face on a twisty road, which, let's be honest, is the whole point of a GTI. Okay, so back to that engine, the EA888. Why do car folks get so excited about it? Because it's practically bulletproof, known for being super robust and reliable. But even better, it's a tuner's dream. From the factory, this engine is barely breaking a sweat, which means owners can easily unlock a ton more power later on. So let's put it all in one place. You're getting solid performance, a super fast 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox, and, get this, fuel economy of around 43.5 miles per gallon. On paper, that is a seriously compelling package. Now, performance is one thing, but you have to live with a car every single day. So let's shift gears and talk about the design, the interior, and what it's like to actually use. This is where that balance between heritage and modern compromise really gets interesting. On the outside, VW has totally nailed that sleeper look. It's sporty, but it doesn't scream at you. You get modern touches like those slick IQ lights, but you also get the classic red stripe and GTI badges that connect it to its past. A quick tip, though, you really need the optional 18-inch wheels to make it look just right. And when you step inside, there are some huge wins. The first thing you notice are those amazing tartan plaid seats. They're not just for looks, they're fantastic and really hold you in place. Plus, you get a cool digital cockpit and, thankfully, real physical buttons on the steering wheel. No swiping, no haptic feedback nonsense here. It's a great mix of classic and modern. But it's not perfect, and this is where you see the compromises of building a performance car on a budget-friendly platform. The infotainment system works, but it feels a little old. If you go looking, you'll find some cheaper, scratchy plastics, and the big hump in the back floor means the middle seat is pretty much useless for an adult. It's just the reality of a car at this price. All right, here we go. This is the most important part. We've gone over the specs, we've checked out the interior, but how does this thing actually feel to drive? This is where we answer that huge question. Is it a true hot hatch, or is it maybe something else? The absolute key to this car, the one thing you have to understand, is its split personality. And that's all thanks to the adaptive suspension that comes standard.
It's called dynamic chassis control, and it lets the car completely change its character at the press of a button. This is probably its greatest single strength. And believe me, the difference is night and day. In normal mode, it's a calm, comfortable commuter. The suspension is soft, the steering is light, it just soaks up bumps. But then you hit that sport button, and it's a different animal. The suspension gets firm, the steering gets heavy and direct, and the whole car feels tight and ready to attack a corner. It is genuinely like having two cars in one. So if it's that good and that versatile, why do some people call it a warm hatch instead of a truly hot one? Well, this is the big debate. The performance is definitely there, but for some people, a key part of the classic hot hatch experience is missing. It all comes down to the drama, or the lack of it. Those modern emissions filters mean the exhaust is super quiet. You don't get any of those fun pops or crackles. And to make up for it, when you're in sport mode, the sound you hear is actually pumped in through the speakers. It's augmented. And for a purist, that can be a tough pill to swallow. Okay, let's bring it all home. What's the final verdict here? Because what seems like a compromise might actually be what makes this the perfect car for right now. You can really boil the whole appeal of this car down to 4 key things. 1, it's economical. Over 40 mpg is fantastic. 2, it's comfortable with those great seats and that adaptive suspension. 3, the performance is genuinely fun and easy to use every day. And 4, it's got that heritage. The badge, the tartan seats, it all means something. Look, at the end of the day, the Polo GTI isn't trying to be the wildest, most extreme car out there. Its whole mission is to perfectly bridge that gap between a sensible daily driver and a fun weekend toy. And for a lot of people, that balance is not a compromise. It's the perfect formula. And that brings us to this final thought. With the entire car world charging toward an electric future, this Polo GTI really does feel like a last chance. It's a last chance to buy a brand new car that's this versatile, this fun, and this connected to that golden age of gasoline engines. It's more than just a car. It might just be the end of a very special chapter.